When God has a message for us, or when God tries to speak to us, we try and figure that out. And sometimes we don't always understand it, do we? I know I don't. Sometimes God wants to speak to us and we don't always know what He's saying. I mean, God wants to speak to us and give us that which is right and good in our lives, but we don't always understand. When God speaks to us, we don't always understand what that is, do we? I know I don't. But God wants us to understand, and He's going to show us how to receive and understand what He wants for us. You know, and I always reminded of this verse, and always reminded of, you know, with Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper, not to harm you, to give you a future and a hope. Memorize that verse. Hide that verse in your heart. Because that's the truth. I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, to give you a future and a hope. You know, when Jeremiah wrote that, Jeremiah was known as the weeping prophet. And because Jeremiah was liked because he gave a message to God's people, but God's people wouldn't receive it. And often Jeremiah was rejected. But even in the midst of that, Jeremiah still spoke a positive message of hope and encouragement, didn't he? And that's the same way it is with us. Even though sometimes we go through challenges and difficulties and hardships, God has a positive message and He has a positive plan for us. But we sometimes lose because we're in the midst of the struggle, we're in the midst of the difficulty, and we're in the midst of things that are challenging, and we can't see the greater plan or the greater purpose that God has. But we have to know, and we have to understand, and we have to receive it in our hearts, even though maybe we don't understand, that God's purpose and God's plan is good.